Hello and welcome to the video. I'm Jimmy the Mower and today we are unboxing the IMPAX Professional Power Tools 800i inverter generator. So let's have a look at what we've got inside. Just put the knife away. Oh, first of all, instruction booklet, that always comes in handy. Some power leads, a little measuring cylinder, and then the generator itself. I don't know how easy this will come out. Oh, that's not so bad. At least it's packaged well, eh? Right, so there we have the generator itself. Now then, I just have a quick flick through these instructions, grab a cup of tea, and I'll be right back with you. Hey, so I've been away, I've had a good look through everything. I looked at the instruction booklet. We've got quite an in-depth instruction booklet here. A lot of technical information in, and it's quite informative. However, the photographs aren't really the greatest, and it doesn't show everything that you need to see. So we'll put that to one side for a minute. We've got the quick guide here, which we can run through as well. And this is just basically, if you want to get it out of the box and start it up. The main thing is it doesn't come with any oiling. Nothing in the UK comes filled with oil. They're pre-filled with oil and tested, I presume. Then they drain the oil out, so there's always a bit left in the crankcase. But they can't send it through the postal system or sell it through shops with the oil already in. So we need some SAE 1030. I have loads of SAE 30, the straight stuff which we use for mowers and that. I hadn't got any SAE 1030, so I had to go and buy some. I had to go and get a 5 litre tub. We always use Morris oil where we can. They're my preferred oil supplier and refiner, all UK. Basically 1030 on there, and it's for heavy duty, diesel, petrol, turbo engines, off-highway versatility, ideal for generator sets, which is exactly what we're using it for today. However, 5 litres, and all we need to put in is between 200 mil and 250 mil, so there's not a lot, but I presume at least we'll have plenty in stock for in the future. So that's the oil sorted. In the box, we got a screwdriver, Phillips head. We got some charging leads, a 12 volt plug, and these just go to a battery if you're charging a battery up, and a small box spanner. This is for changing the spark plug, which will fit in the top. There's also a couple of leaflets in there. Do not return this item to the shop. There's a dedicated helpline number on there for technical sales support and spares. So we'll put that to one side. Hopefully we'll never need that. And then it says, warning, do not overfill this unit with oil. Fill with 200 to 250 ml of SAE 1030 4-stroke engine oil only, which is exactly what we've got. So hopefully we should be fine. So first of all, we need to put the oil into the machine. Now, from what I can see, it just says remove cover, remove service cover and put oil into sump. Now, there's a picture down there of the oil, so I presume it's this cover and not the cover on this side. So that'll be the one we need to take off first, and we'll see if we can get some oil in there. Right then, we've got that panel off, and luckily we guessed the right side. So this is the oil sump down in here. Should come off quite easily. Yeah, and as you can see on there, I don't know if you can see it shining in the light, but there's oil already on there. So there's definitely been oil in it, but they have to remove it. So we'll be a bit cautious. We've got the full 250 mil in here. However, if we put about 200 mil in, and then we know we're over the minimum, but we won't be over the maximum. So it's a handy little bottle with a spout on. I can see this being used elsewhere. Might take the lid off, see if we can get a bit better flow through it. Yeah, that's better. Just keep your eye on it as it's going in. I don't really know how much is actually in there. We don't want to have to overfill it and have to tip some out again if we have overfilled it. Get a rag and just clean around the end. Now, we've got enough in there. It's just up to the top. We won't be able to get the camera in because it's so dark in there, but it's just up to the top, so we know we've got enough oil in. And put the plug back in now. So that's the oil filled up. Now, you don't really want to start messing with anything else until that oil is filled up. So once that's done, I think then we can put the cover back on. But before we do that, in here, I'm hoping, is the air filter. And we haven't got to do anything to that now, but just for future reference, if I take that off, we can have a look. Oh, we can have a look and see what it looks like. Okay, it's just a small sponge medium that fits in there, roughly cut to shape. So you take this out, give it a wash through, dry it, put it back in. It says in the instruction book every 50 hours, but it'd be more often than that if you're working in dusty conditions. But this sort of foam's pretty easy to come by. You can get this, cut it to size and put it back in. So it's not an expensive wear part. Right, we'll pop that back in, and then we know in future that that's where it's located, and that's what we have to do. So I think that is everything that we need to do with that cover off. So I'll pop the cover back on. Thought I'd finished. Right then, so that's the cover back on. Now we've got some oil in there, we can have a good look at it and see exactly what it does. So on this side then, start from the top, we've got the choke lever on there. You put that onto choke, start the engine, puts a bit more fuel through, gets it to spark and run, and then once it starts to fire up, you can move it back to the run position and it should tick away nicely. There's a primer bulb up on the top. It says when using the generator for the first time, pump this 6 times to pump the fuel up. So I'm presuming every day that we use this, when we start it up first thing in the morning, we just pump the primer, it lifts the fuel up to the carburettor. When we fire it over, it'll go. We've got the start rope on there. I won't pull that out yet. and then we've got the fuel on and off switch. So just simple slider, off, and then round to on. So we'll leave that off for a minute. Now, we'll just turn it round and have a look at the bits and pieces on the front. Right, the first thing I noticed on this was the earth strap on the bottom. Now, I've used generators for a long time. I've never had an inverter generator before. This is the first one I've ever bought or ever used. And on all my other machines, we've never really used an earth strap. So I don't know if that's a new thing or not. You can put an earth on there and you can ground it, and it should keep everything safe and protected. So that'll be something I'm doing in future. This here is a little reset button. I think if there's any problems internally, that'll pop out as a little safety, and we push that back in and it'll fire up again. You've got your output, that's green if it's all running fine, red for overload, and another red for oil alert in case your oil runs a bit low. Now, on the front, these inverter generators are a bit different to what I normally use. We've got an economy button, and this is one of the main reasons of having an inverter generator. You have a normal petrol generator and you pull it and it just runs at full bore all the way through. You plug things in, you unplug them, use whatever you want, and it just keeps running. With this one, with these inverter ones, you put them on economy, so you have to start it on normal, and then you can move it over to economy and it will idle the engine. So you're using less fuel, there's less emissions, it should be quieter, and when you plug something in, as you draw the ampage from it, it lifts the petrol engine up to generate the electricity that you require, up to 800 watt for this as peak. I think it runs at about 700 and it's 800 watt peak. There's the on and off switch over on that side. There's the standard 13 amp plug there. And then down here is a little 12 volt outlet. Now, you get these leads with them. And again, I don't know if this is a new type of 12 volt plug or whether it's specific to this machine. I've never come across it before. It fits in there like so, and it's great, and it's a good tight fit. Oh, it is a tight fit. Yeah, so that comes out. So at least being tight, you know it's connected and you know it's working. So that's on there. There's nothing really else to say about the front, is there? We've got a blank panel on this side. There's a small panel on the top with a screw in there. The spark plug sits inside there, and we've got the box spanner. You put that on the top, put the screwdriver through, and you can undo the spark plug. We won't do that now. It's a brand new machine. Maybe when we're servicing it in a few months' time, we can have a look at that. And then we turn around to the back, and we've got the exhaust port on the back. There's a small gauze over the exhaust port there. I think that's if we get any sparks or anything like that, it just stops anything coming out. It's all caught in there. However, from previous experience using these smaller machines, we know that sometimes they choke up with debris and we have to take them off and clean them and then put them back on, because it can stop the exhaust coming out, which then stops the engine from running efficiently. Now, on the top, we've got the standard fuel cap there, and on top of the fuel cap, we've got a small vent. I've turned that round to open, and that's round to closed. And it says when you've filled this up, you turn this round to open, and as it's using the fuel up, it allows it to drag air into the fuel tank and run efficiently. So if you use it on closed, it'll probably cause a vacuum and the machine will stop running. Now, I was just going to go and put a litre of fuel in this to start it up and just demonstrate it today. However, we've got a note on the top that says, please fill the tank full the first time starting. Please pull the recall start about 20 times in the first starting in order to pump fuel up to the carburettor, right? Now, we already know there's a primer pump on there, so that'll pump the fuel up to the carburettor. But what we do with this is we pull it slowly. The first time we ever put oil in any machine, or we change oil in any machine, we pull this rope gently and slowly, and we're not trying to pump the fuel up and through, we're trying to circulate the oil around the engine so that all the wear parts are protected without it going into full throttle mode straight away from cold. Let's get some fuel in then and see how we go. So I take the fuel cap off the top. Now normally with petrol machinery, we never really fill them up if we know we're not going to use the fuel. But with this, it said fill it up first time, and it takes 2.1 litres of fuel. So I've got 2 litres of straight unleaded, and we'll put that in. Then hopefully that should be enough. But I don't like leaving fuel sat around in machines. It just goes off and goes stale. It's not great. That's why we keep it in these little bottles. It stays fresher for longer. There's a nice handy filter in there as well, so stop any bits and pieces going in. So that's 2 litres of fuel in there now. I spilled a bit getting the funnel out, as you can see. But anyway, right, we'll screw that on the top. Make sure that's tight. I'll move these bottles out of the way. That's on tight. We'll move the top round onto open, so the vent's open on top, so it'll allow the air in as we start the machine up and use the fuel up. Now, economy on off. Engine on, turn it round, in fact put it round here, and I'll press the primer, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that really hasn't sucked anything through. There's nothing in the primer bulb, so let's just keep going until we can see a bit in there. That's it, it's starting to come through now. Now it's come through, we'll pull the starter rope. Now this comes directly out from the side, so I'll have to turn it round towards me a little bit. And now I'll do it slowly because we want to circulate the oil around inside the engine before we start it. You can hear it wanting to try and start already. Right. That's pumped it through. I still can't see much fuel in there though. At all. Oh, you've got some resistance now. You can feel it. That's it. That's it. Plenty of fuel pumped through. Plenty of oil around the engine. We'll have to see now if we can get it to start. There we go, second pull. That's it, I've put that down onto economy. I don't know if you can hear me or not, whether it's on idle, but we'll have a look on the front. You can see the output light's green and we haven't got any other lights on, so that's a good sign. I'll just move it over to that side. Now I don't know what it sounds like with my microphone on and that over there, whether you can hear me or you just hear the engine noise at all, I don't know. If you can't hear me, we'll have to put some subtitles over the top to try and explain what we're doing. But if I bring the machine back in, we can then turn it off. So there's the machine back in. We'll put it back up to full power and then we can turn it off. That's it, we've turned it off. Now it says 93 dB on the top, so 93 decibels, which I wasn't really expecting, to be honest with you, because when we bought it, it says on the box that it's 56 dB, but there's an asterisk above there, and I think that's when it's in economy mode with no power running through. It's just sitting there idling. It'll be at 56 dB, and it says silent. Now, it was on the workbench a few feet away from me, and it certainly wasn't silent. It was quiet compared to our other generator, I'll give it that, but it certainly wasn't silent. They market this, if you look at the pictures on the box, as though you're going out to do DIY and building, which is what we'll be using it for. We'll be plugging little bits and pieces in to charge batteries mainly. For camping, I think if you're on a campsite, there'd be a bit of noise around for other people. For gardening, for running power tools in the garden. Now it's only 800 watt, but it would run a few little bits and pieces. Or also for caravanning. Now, if it was outside your caravan, tucked away, you probably wouldn't be able to hear it inside with your double glazing and your TV on, etc. But if somebody was camping nearby, I think they'd certainly hear it. So it's not as quiet as I thought it would be. But what we'll do, we'll start it up again and we'll plug something in and we'll see how it works on that economy mode. Now, one of the main things we'll use it for is when we're working out and about, is setting up or charging up batteries. Now, I did a video on this Ferex mini air compressor not so long ago. If you haven't seen that, there should be a link somewhere up here and you can have a look at that and how that works. And then with this, there's a lithium ion 12 volt battery built in, with a built-in charger. So that clips in there and there's a charging lead off it. So what I was thinking of doing is if we could just give this a little test today. We can plug that into there. And that's all plugged in. And then we'll know if it's working or not because the charge lights will come up on here. And that'll be a good little test just to get it running and see how it is. And then after we've done that, I'll take it away. We'll use it for a few months and we'll see how we get on and come back and then we can do a full review video of exactly how it works. So now we've got that plugged in, I'll turn it round. Oh, sorry. I'll put it to on. Make sure economy's off so it starts. So turn it to on. Make sure that the fuel switch is on at the bottom. I should have turned that off actually when we stop using it, but we make sure that's on. I won't put the choke on. I'll just leave it on run as normal, see if it starts first. No, might need the choke on then. Yeah, that's a lot better. Right, we put the economy on. That's that sat over there. And we have a look, and there we go, it's charging up. That's brilliant. That's just what we'd need it for, really. We just need to charge these little things up, or where we've got work tool, drills, grinders, etc. out and about with us. Maybe we've got to fix a mower in the field. We can plug it into there. We can use the charge up the batteries, and I think it'll be great. Right, I'll just knock that off. That's it. So that's off. So that's it then. It does work. I'm happy with it. He's put some charge into there. So that's great then, really. So all in all, you look at that, the IMPAX Professional Power Tools 800 watt inverter generator. It seems pretty good, really. Does exactly what it says. A bit louder than I thought, but we are in the workshop in a confined space. Maybe if we're out and about, it's not so loud. We work in, I don't know, as it suggests on the box, if you're working outside, maybe in a garden, the noise dissipates and it's not so loud. Right, I'll close the vent up on top and that prevents the fuel leaking out. So that's round to close. I'll turn the fuel switch to off and then that's it safely. Well, all nice and safe, and that can be stored away. So basically, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, found it entertaining, informative. Please give me the thumbs up and subscribe. If you've got anything nice to say, you can always pop it in the comments section below. I'm Jimmy the Mower. I'll catch you on the next one.